Tropical storm Isaias unloads on our region. In Berks County, the heavy bursts of rain flooded roads and homes too, and strong winds took down trees and power lines. This stretch of Kutztown Road north of Reading turned into a raging river during the storm, and scenes like this can be seen all over the place tonight. Good evening once again. I'm Rob Vaughn. The sun may be out now, but it's a little comfort to anybody still dealing with the effects of hours of pounding rain and whipping winds. Flooding is still causing headaches, and MedEd and PPL are reporting about 25,000 customers all told in the dark now. We have team coverage of the storm and its aftermath. We start with WFMZ's Jim Vassell live on Kutztown Road in Muhlenberg Township. Jim, it's a double whammy for people in that area.
You are certainly right, Rob, here in Muhlenberg Township that has endured a rainstorm on Sunday that created substantial flash flooding back-to-back with a tropical storm today. Raindrops from Tropical Storm Isaias tore it like daggers from above, making a wet, blunt force impact.
This is Mother Nature. We can't stop it.
Under attack by flash flooding since Sunday, Muhlenberg Township is dealt another blow by Isaias. On the border of Alsace Township, gushing floodwaters inundated Elizabeth Avenue.
That was sounded like thunder coming down that mountain.
Some did not heed to the old warning of turn around, don't drown, as at least one person here on Route 61 waited for help getting out of this precarious spot. Things also got precarious on Beaumont Avenue, where a tree crashed onto the back of this house, taking out the kitchen. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The storm even shutting down business, like Bargain King USA on North 5th Street Highway, after rainwater collapsed the roof, opening up the floodgates from above.
It's all upside down, right and left. It's a disaster.
Store owner Mohammed Hakim says he likely lost everything inside.
I am okay. If I was inside, that's really, I was dead by now. So, thanks God, we stay safe.
Back out here live in Muhlenberg Township. At this hour, water continues to rush down the storm drains here on Kutztown Road. And as you can see down that block, officials with the township are pumping some water out of the intersections. So the township is on the mend, Rob, but things are going to be wet and messy for quite some time. Live tonight in Muhlenberg Township, Jim Vassell, 69 News.
All right, Jim, glad to see you were drying out a little bit. Rescue crews have had their hands full today, and WFMZ's REARDEN tracked crews from Boyertown to Fleetwood as they helped people trapped on flooded roads and in flooded homes. She has the latest from central and eastern Berks County.
We spent hours driving around trying to find a way out back to a main road that was passable, or even to find some kind of cell service. And then when we actually made it out to a main road, we found a tree down and traffic backups. Part of new Route 100 near Bechtelsville was flooded by late morning as water rushed across the road and only tractor trailers with high enough clearance were permitted to pass. At that point, the rain was coming down in droves, and emergency crews were getting called to several home water rescues, including this one on Forgedale Road, where firefighters had to cut out the side of a house to rescue a woman and two small children from a house where they were trapped by rapidly rising waters. Next, we encountered a heavily flooded part of Jefferson Street in Ole Township that would have been treacherous to pass even before we watched a massive tree fall, sending sparks flying and live wires into the rushing floodwaters.
I lived here for 37 years and have never, ever seen the creek flood like that. So this is a really unbelievable experience.
After that, we tried to get to more calls of water rescues, but kept getting held up by roads that resembled rivers and trees blocking streets. And when the rain finally let up this afternoon, it did make it easier for first responders to do their job, but they say they're going to continue to be busy throughout the night. Reporting in Alsace Township, I'm REARDEN, 69 News.
Caitlin, thank you. As we mentioned, thousands of homes and businesses are in the dark in the wake of the storm. MedEd says Berks is seeing a lot of power problems, and for some people, the power may not be back on for days. WFMZ's Irene Snyder is live at MedEd headquarters in Muhlenberg Township with more on that. Irene?
Good evening, Rob. Well, I spoke to a MedEd official who says that many people in the area could be without power for possibly a couple of days. He says that there have been about 80,000 reported outages across the state, and most of those have been here in Berks County. Hours of heavy rain and strong winds caused flooding and led to thousands of power outages in Berks County.
It certainly has come through and created a lot of damage.
MedEd spokesperson Todd Myers says 80,000 homes and businesses served by MedEd statewide lost power. But he says Berks has been hit the hardest, with more than 24,000 customers impacted as of Tuesday afternoon.
Make no mistake, this is going to be a couple days before we get the lights back on to everybody.
Myers says a big part of the problem, especially in Muhlenberg Township, is that the ground was already heavily saturated from flooding Saturday into Sunday, which means the soil around the tree roots isn't stable, and those trees are knocking down power lines.
These trees are standing in very, very precarious, sort of soggy roots, and it didn't take much wind, maybe no wind at all, to have a lot of them start to fall over, and especially when they're on hillsides.
Myers says MedEd is now heading out to each scene, cutting those active power lines that have fallen to the ground.
Our crews get out there and we make sure that those hazards, we get out there and respond to each of those locations as they come in and wires down. And with this storm, we already have, there's hundreds of different locations across Berks.
And MedEd officials say that if you do have an outage in your area, to give them a call and to report it. Reporting live in Muhlenberg Township, Irene Snyder, 69 News.
And indeed, Irene, here is what you do if you lose power. MedEd customers should call 1-888-LIGHTS. PPL customers should call 1-800-DIAL-PPL. Remember, the 1-888-LIGHTS has 2 S's on the end for MedEd. Just follow the prompts when you make these calls to report your problem. For PECO customers in Montgomery, Chester, and other nearby counties, the number to call is here, 1-800-841-4141. For more on where Isaias, see, Dan and I were talking about this before. We just as soon retired this name. Isaias is now, and what we can expect as we go through the evening, here's Dan Skeldon.
I imagine the name will be retired. We've had fatalities down in the Carolinas with the storm, multiple tornadoes. Some tropical systems, when they come ashore, generate tornadoes. And this one's been on the heavier side for that. And, of course, the rain, which has been our biggest impact. Some wind as well. All right, so the radar, the timing worked out. Morning into early afternoon was the worst. We thought, hey, maybe a little sun comes out late in the day and things quiet down and improve pretty dramatically, and we could use some improvements. Here's our radar estimated rainfall. Generally speaking, 2 to 5 inches throughout Berks County, less in western Berks, more in eastern Berks. All right, we'll have some specific storm spotter rainfall totals for you as well. Some spots getting as much as 6, 7, 8 inches, especially as you work your way along and east of the Route 100 corridor into parts of Chester, Montgomery counties. That's where the highest rainfall totals were. But you can see our radar estimates, 2 inches out towards Bethel, and as much as 5 inches in far eastern Berks County. Officially 3 at the airport in Reading, 5 at the airport in Pottstown. But again, we'll have a full list for you. Look at the wind. In Berks County, it was 40, 50 miles an hour and some damage. Down the shore, that Long Beach Island, where about every customer on the island is without power, 109 mile an hour winds due to a water spout that came ashore and actually turned into a tornado. All right, the sun is out, the storm is gone, the calm after the storm, the cleanup after the storm. Rest of your forecast pretty quiet, thankfully. Details and your Berks County 7-day forecast coming up in just a bit.
And we have some more storm damage to show you tonight. Heavy rain from the storm caused a sinkhole to open up in the parking lot of a Target store. This is the store on the North 5th Street Highway in Muhlenberg Township. You can see the rainwater flowing right down into the big hole. First responders taped off a wide perimeter around the sinkhole just so everything's safe. Part of Skyline Drive began to crumble thanks to all the running water from the storm. This is in the area of Pricetown Road, just off Pricetown Road in Alsace Township. A first responder at the scene reported that there was nothing left holding up that part of the road next to the guardrail. Neighborhoods in MAIDENCREEK Township are under at least 2 feet of water in some spots. Here's some video on Walnut Creek Road earlier this afternoon. The water quickly rushed up to the bottom of mailboxes. Look at that. Along this road in MAIDENCREEK. Parts of Oley Township had flooding too. This is what it looked like on Route 73 at Friedensburg Road. The water began to recede by the time our crew got to the scene. You can still see, though, there's plenty there as people splash their way through. The MAIDENCREEK spilled its banks outside the Reading Public Museum. Water covered the area where a number of events are held in the summer. The creek is moving at a pretty good pace, too, as you can see here. The ducks outside the museum did not seem to mind this stuff at all.